صلى الله على محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم صلى الله على محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم صلى الله عليه وسلم.
بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وآله وصحبه ومن اهتدى بهداه. The way we hear people recite the Quran is not that great, because a lot of us focus on how beautiful your voice is, how perfect your tajweed is, and we most of the time tend to neglect the core of the recitation, and that is to contemplate. And this is why in some of the hadiths, the best of those people who their recitation reminds you of Allah, that makes you fear Allah, and you think that they fear Allah themselves. This is the best recitation. Hafsa, the mother of the believers, may Allah be pleased with her, the daughter of Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, says that the Prophet ﷺ used to perform voluntary prayers sitting down. And he would recite the surah and pronounce it slowly so that it would seem to be longer than one that is actually longer than it. What does this mean? It means that the Prophet ﷺ's night prayer used to be while sitting down. And remember, this was at the end of the Prophet's life. Not always. A lot of the times when we go to some of the masjids, we see brothers from the subcontinent, and they only do this in the subcontinent. I don't know why. And after Maghrib prayer, they pray voluntary prayer sitting down. And the man is healthy. Actually, he's quite fit and strong. Akhi, what are you doing? He said, Sunnah. Bahai, this is not Sunnah. He said, oh, the Prophet used to pray sitting down. Look at the other hadiths that explain that this was done at the end of his time when he was tired. And this was not in normal Sunnah, rather in night prayer. So he says, is my prayer rejected? He said, no, it's not rejected. But it's half the reward. So instead of getting $1,000, you're getting $500 only. And what is causing you to compromise this other $500? Your laziness. Or your misunderstanding that this is a sunnah. It is not a sunnah. So shape up and stand up. But if you're tired, if you are sick, you can sit without any problem, inshaAllah. Mother Hafsa says he used to prolong the recitation. What does that mean? A lot of us, when we recite, all what we care about is the last and the end of the surah. So we recite, قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٍ اللَّهُ الصَّمَدُ لَمْ يَلِدْ وَلَمْ يُولَدْ وَلَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُ كُفُوًا أَحَدٍ. This was not the recitation of the Prophet ﷺ. That was too quick. He used to recite it so that it was longer than surahs that are longer than it. So, قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ. He would not say, قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ and move on. No, he would prolong it. Why? This is more beautiful. This is more for you and those listening to you to understand the words, to have them penetrate their hearts, to have an impact on your life, rather than just say it and let's get it over with. So this is what we should be doing to imitate our role model, alayhi salatu wasalam. Mother Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, says, by the time the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam died, he was performing most of his voluntary prayers from a sitting position. And again, this is referring to most likely night prayer. And this was approximately a year or so before he died. But before that, he always prayed standing up, all of his fard prayers, ritual prayers, and the whole 9 yards. Abdullah ibn Umar, may Allah be pleased with him and with his father, tells us now in the following hadith about how the Prophet ﷺ performed Sunanur Rawatib. He says, I performed 2 units of ritual prayers with the Prophet ﷺ before the noon prayer, Dhuhr prayer, and 2 units after it, and 2 units after the sunset prayer, Maghrib, in his house, and 2 units after the evening prayer, that is Al-Isha, in his house. So Ibn Umar is telling us that the Prophet prayed 8 rak'ahs. This is one narration. In another narration, Ibn Umar himself tells us that Mother Aisha, his sister, said that the Prophet ﷺ used to perform 2 units of voluntary prayers when the dawn was rising and the caller to prayer was calling. And Ayub says, I think, and one of the narrators of the hadith says, I think and believe he said that these units were very abbreviated or very light and short. So this hadith, Ibn Umar adds to the 8 he mentioned earlier, another 2, which are the sunnah of Fajr prayer. And he told us that the time for this or these 2 rak'ahs is between the adhan of Fajr and before the iqamah of the Fajr, and that it was really short and concise. Ibn Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, says, I recall 8 units performed by the Prophet ﷺ, 2 units before the noon prayer, before Dhuhr, 2 after, 2 after Maghrib prayer, and 2 after the evening prayer, which is Isha. Ibn Umar added that there are 2 rak'ahs. I didn't see them, but my sister Hafsa, may Allah be pleased with her, the mother of the believers and the wife of the Prophet ﷺ, she told him about these 2 units of the early morning prayer, which is the Ratibatul Fajr or Sunnatul Al-Fajr. Wallahu a'lam wa nisbatul ilmi ilayhi aslam wa sallallahu wa sallam wa barak ala nabiyyina Muhammad.
Sallallahu ala Muhammad, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, sallallahu ala Muhammad, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.